Hey, what's up? Welcome to this new video. This one is paper 1-2 of October-November 2011. Now, with that being said, obviously, let's move on to question number 1. So here we have to find the first three terms of this expansion in ascending powers of x. So pretty easy. Let's first try to expand this, and we just need the first three terms. That will be 5, powers 5, combination, 0. You have 2 here, and here we have minus y. This is 0, that will be 0. 5 minus 0 is 5. That is my first term. Then second term, 5, choose 1. That will be 1, and that will be 4. And finally, my third term, 5, choose 2. That should be 2, and that should be 3. Simplify. 5, choose 0 is what? Is 1. No, yeah, it is 1. 2 power 5 is 32, and this will be 1. Let's check. 2 power 5 should be 32. Exactly. 5 choose 1 is 5, that should be 16, and that should be minus y, plus that should be 10, that should be 8, that should be y squared. 32 minus how much? 5 times minus 16, that should be minus 80 y, and plus 80 y squared. That is part 1 of your question. We have to find the first three terms of the expansion. Now part 2, we have to use part 1 to find the coefficient of x squared in this expansion. So here we have to find 2 minus 2x minus x squared 5. Now we can kind of try to compare. How can we use part 1 in this? So by comparison, part 1 we have what? We have 2 minus y power 5. Now by comparison, you can see that by just comparing, we can conclude that here we have 2, here we have 2, minus y, and this is this, which means y have to be 2x minus x squared. So now we can just replace y by this and this. So let's see what happens. You will have 32 minus 80 times y, right? And plus 80 times, that is y squared. But now again, for this expansion, we only care about the term in x squared. So this we don't need. We can proceed with this one. Here we have minus 80 times which one? Times this one. This. And here we have plus 80 times which one? Let's see. Let's expand this. You will have 4x squared. And then you will have minus 4x cubed plus x power 4. So obviously, to have the term, that should be plus 80 x squared plus 80 times 4x squared, because we need the term in x squared only. Now we can try to simplify. You will have 80 x squared plus 320 x squared is 400 x squared. So the coefficient of x squared is this one. That will be your answer. Coefficient is equal to 400. Now let's move on to the next question. The functions f and g, they are defined by the following functions. Now where x can take any real values, okay? Now where a and b are constant to be found, given that f of 2 equals to 10, and g inverse of 2 is this. So let's see how can we use those to find the value of a and b. So step by step, I guess, just to keep things consistent, we will just be proceeding with our usual steps. For example, f of 2 is 10. First thing first, what is that value? What is f of 2? It was the f of 2 will be 2 times 3 is 6 plus a. Now we understand that will be f 6 plus a should be 10. So what is that? That should be 3 times 6 plus a, that will be 10. That will be 18 plus 3a plus a, that will be 10. So we are going to have 4a is equal to minus 8, so a will be minus 2. That is your value of a. Now for this one here we have g inverse of 2 has to be 3. Now we cannot obviously go the other way as well, just to be more consistent. For example, I can first find, well, let y equal to b minus 2x. Let's first find g inverse of x. So 2x will be b minus y x will be b minus y divided by 2. So finally, we know that G inverse of x have to be b minus x divided by 2. Replace back in here, you will have b minus 2 over 2, that should be 3. Cross multiply, you will have b minus 2, that will be 6. So finally, b have to be 8. So value of b and value of a. Now for part 2, we have to find an expression for f g of x. So pretty easy. Now we can write down what is now we know. We know that f of x is 3x minus 2 and g of x is equal to 8 minus 2x. So we want to find f g of x. So pretty easy. F is 3x will be g of x minus 2. That should be 3 times g of x minus 2. That should be what? That should be 24 minus 6x minus 2. That should be 22 minus 6x. That will be f g of x will be 22 minus 6x. Okay, and that will be part 2 of your question, to find an expression for f g of x. Now let's move on to the next question. Now, relative to a point O, the position vectors of points of A and B are given to you by these two. Now, the first thing I know, I can rewrite them as OA, can also be written as 5, 1, 2. And OB can also be equal to 2, 7P. Okay, so now where P is a constant to be found. Now, part 1, we have to find the value of P for which the angle AOB is 90. Now we understand that to find the angle AOB, usually how would you find that? We take the directions OA, OB. So you will do OA dot of OB is equal to the magnitude of OA times the magnitude of OB and cos of the angle 90. Now what is cos of 90? Cos of 90, that will be 0. So this whole thing here will be 0 because they are perpendicular. The two directions, the dot product of the two directions will be 0. So replace. We know OA is equal to 5, 1, 2. OB will be 2, 7P. Simplify, you will have 10 plus 7 plus 2P, that will be 0. So 2P, that will be minus 17. So P will have to be, so minus 17 divided by 2, minus 8.5. Okay, that will be part 1 of your question. Now for part 2, in the case where P is equal to 4, okay, using that value of P, we have to find the vector which has a magnitude of 28. So the magnitude will be 28 and is in the same direction as AB. Okay, pretty easy. Now we have OA and we have OB. OB now is equal to 2, 7, 4 as the value of P. Now, same direction as AB, so let's first find what is the direction of AB. So by definition, AB is equal to OB minus OA. That will be 2, 7, 4 minus 5, 1, 2. That should be what? So 2 minus 5, that will give you minus 3. That should be 6, and that should be 2. Right. Now this is the direction of AB. Now how would you find the other vector? So we know that the magnitude of the other vector is 28. So what we need to do is we need to find the unit vector in direction of AB. That will be the vector AB divided by its magnitude. That will be what? So 3 square, 9 plus 36 plus 4, that should be this. So root of 49 is 7. Okay, so that will be the unit vector in direction of AB. Now the vector we need to find is what? It is taking the unit vector in direction of AB. Now this is 1 unit, but we know the magnitude is 28, so we have to multiply by 28. That will be 1 times 4. That should be minus 12, 24, and 8, which is minus 12i plus 24j plus 8k. Okay, that will be your vector in direction of AB, but also has the magnitude of 28. So how do you find this? First, you have to find the direction of AB. Then we have to find the unit direction, a unit vector in the direction of AB, which means the magnitude is 1 in the direction of AB. But now we know the vector has magnitude of 28, so we have to multiply by 28 to find that vector. And then express this as in terms of I, j, and k. Now let's move on to the next question. The equation of a curve is y squared plus 2x equal to 13, and the equation of a line is 2y plus x equal to k, where k is a constant. Now part 1, in case where the value of k is 8, which means we have 2y plus x equal to 8, we have to find the points of intersection. So pretty easy. When we have to find the points of intersection, it means that we will have to solve a simultaneous equation. So here we have x, we can make x become subject, so x will be 8 minus 2y. Now x here we have x. Replace, you will have y squared plus 2 times x will be 8 minus 2y, have to be 13. Now will be y squared plus 16 minus 4y equal to 13. So y squared minus 4y plus 13 minus plus 16 minus 13, that should be plus 3 is 0. Now you can solve this by factorization, or you can solve by using your formula, but here we can just use simple factorization. What is y squared? Is y times y. 3 is 3 times 1. To get minus 4, we have to have minus 1, minus 3. So y will be 1, y will be 3. So now we have to find the corresponding values of x. So when y equals to 1, what is the value of x? That will be, back in here, 8 minus 2y, so 8 minus 2, that should be 6. When y equal to 3, x will be 8 minus 6, that should be 2. Okay, so the point here, the 2 points, the first point is 6, 1, and 2, 3. The points of intersection. Now for part 2, we have to find the value of k for which the line is a tangent to the curve. Now, what does that mean? For example, if you were to picture this, let's say my curve had the shape of this. For example, it's not great, but you get the idea. This is my shape of the curve. Now, if the line is a tangent to the curve, it means that the line passes, or the line touches the curve at exactly one point. It means that they only have one point of intersection, which means one solution. Hence, we understand b squared minus 4ac have to be 0. So if you were to solve them, you will have what? This is my equation number 1. Equation number 2, again, solve simultaneously. You will have y squared plus 2 times 8, it's not 8, sorry, here we have k minus 2y is equal to 13. So solve, you will have y squared, and what else do we have? Y squared plus the value of 2k minus 4y minus 13 have to be 0. So you have y squared. The value here will be minus 4y plus 2k minus 13 have to be 0. Here we have 1 minus 4 and this. So again, you can use y as well if you want to, or you can go back and use or replace y here and have it in x. It is up to you. You can do that as well. So here we have b squared, that will be 16 minus 4 times a will be this one, and times c have to be 0. That will be divided by 4, you will have this cancel out, this will be 4. So 4 minus 2k plus 13 will be 0. So 2k will be 17, so k will be 8.5. So value of k will be 8.5. So the main point here we have to understand is that if the line is a tangent to the curve, it means the line is touching the curve at only one point. It means they have only one solution. Now because of that, we understand that discriminant have to be equal to 0. Now using this, we will have to use that here. B squared minus 4ac is equal to 0. Then finally solve one by one to find the value of k. Now let's move on to question number 5. So here we have to sketch on the same diagram the graphs of y equal to sin x, and the graph is y equal to cos 2x between 0 and 180. So pretty easy. Whenever we have to draw a trigonometric curve, we have to make a table of values. So the first curve we have is y equal to sin x. Here we have 0, here we have y. Sorry, xy. Here we have 0. Now what is the interval we're going to have? Because here we have 1, right? Before x we have 1. We'll take 90, divide by 1, that should be 90. So that will be 90 and 180. So replace sine of 0, that will be 0. Sine of 90, that should be 1. And sine of 180, that should be 0. Now what's next? For y is equal to cos 2x, x, y, that will be 0. And then the interval here we have 2. Take 90, divide by 2, that should be 45. So interval should be 45. 45, 90, 135, and 180. So replace, you will have cos of 0, that will be 1. Cos of 2 times this will be cos of 90, that should be 0. Cos of 180, that should be minus 1. Cos of 270, that should be 0. And finally, cos of 360, that will be 1. Now, as you can see, we can plot the graph pretty easily. It is only a sketch, doesn't need to be exact. However, I will recommend using a ruler for those regardless. That will be my x value, my y value. This is 0, this is 45, 90, 135, and 180. Let's say here we have 1, here we have minus 1. The first one will be what? Here we can see we have sine x. So first is 0, 0. 90 will be 1. And here we have 0. The shape will be something like this. Right? Okay, that will be my first curve. Y equal to sine of x. Here we have to continue it. Now this one, pretty easy as well. We have 0, 1. We have 45, 0, 90 minus 1, 135, this, that will be this. So let's see. Okay, and that will be the other curve. Label this as y equal to cos 2x. That is part 1 of your question. Now part 2. Verify that at x equal to 30, here we go, x equal to 30 is a root to the equation this is this. And state the other root of this equation in which this is this. Okay, we have to verify. So again, the equation is what? The equation is sine x is equal to cos 2x. So let's see, x is equal to 30, what happens? That will be sine of 30, that will be what? Sine of 30 is 0.5, and cos of 2 times 30, that will be cos of 60 is also 0.5. So verified is a root. Yes, we have seen that they are equal, so we can see that indeed sine of 30 is equal to cos of 60. So it is equal. Now we have to state the other root of this equation. So pretty easy. As we know, when sine of 30 is a value here, what is the other root? We know when sine is positive is a, s, t, c. So we'll have another root in this quadrant, which is this one. That will be 180 minus 30. That should be 150. And now, because we also know that, for example, here we have cos of 60, the other root could also be in this quadrant, in the fourth quadrant. That should be what? That should be 360 minus 60, that should be 300. However, because x can only be between this and this, we'll take the other root to be 150 degrees, according to the quadrants. Now let's move on to part 3 of the question. So hence, we have to state the values of x for which, in this one, for which sine of x is less than this cos of 2x. So what does it mean is that we know here the point of intersection is 30, right? And here also we have 150, right? So in this case, we can show that where is sine of x? This is mean less. Where is sine of x less than cos of 2x? So pretty easy. By observation, you can see that sine of x is less than cos of 2x, where it is less here, right? Before this value and after this value. Let's move on to the next question. The diagram shows a circle C1 touching a circle C2, so C1 touching with C2, okay, at the point of x. This is my point of x. Now C1 has center A and radius 6, which means AX is also 6, right? Now we have circle C2 has center B and radius 10, which means XB is also 10. But AB is 16. The whole thing here is 16, right? Now the points D and E lie on C1, D and E lie on C1 and C2 respectively, and DE is in the same direction as AB, okay? Now the angle DAX is 1/3 pi, and the angle EBX is theta radians, okay? Now, by considering the perpendicular height distance of D and E from AB, so let's see, where's that? So by looking at the height of D from AB and E from AB, so we have to find this height and this height. So one by one, let's first find this height. For example, I can take out the triangle. I will have a triangle here, this, and my perpendicular height. This is 6. This is the angle I can see here, and I need to find the h. This is 90. So by using SOHCAHTOA, we can find the value of h. So that will be hypotenuse. Here we have opposite side. That will be sine of the angle, which is 1/3 pi. Should be what? H over 6. So h should be 6 sine 1/3 pi. Now 1/3 pi is 60 degrees, so sine of 60, I know it's √3 over 2. That should be 3√3. That will be the value of h for this one. Now what about this one? Same concept. If you take out the triangle here, right, we will have h here, we will have 10 here, we have this, and the angle theta. Okay, so let's see what can we find here. So that will be same concept. Here we have the angle theta. So here we have height, which is the opposite side. This is my hypotenuse. That will be sine. Sine of theta will be hypotenuse over the opposite side over the hypotenuse. So finally, h will be 10 sine theta. Okay, great. So now we have this value of h and we have this value of h. Now we can see these two h are the same, so we can equate them to each other, right? So we can say, obviously h is h. That will be on one side you will have this must equal to 10 sine theta, which means sine theta have to be 3√3 divided by 10. So from this, theta will have to be sine this over this and over this. This is shown as required. But again, I can find the value just in case if I need the value. So let's see, 3√3 divided by 10. Sine inverse of that should be, theta will be 0.5464. As a side note, if in case I need that value. But for now, shown as required, it is good enough. Now let's move on. We have to, part 2, find the perimeter of the shaded region. So how would you find this? By observation. This region will be what? So the perimeter will be what? Distance around the region. It will be the length of this one, dx, plus xe, and plus this one, de. Now these two are pretty easy to find. Why? Because they are arc length. Arc length is r theta, so r times theta dx will be r is 6 times theta. Xe is this one, r is 10 times theta. The angle here is 0.5464, and plus d. How would you find d? So let's observe. d can be broken down into two pieces. D can be this part plus this part. Right. Now, let's first find this part. So how would you find this part? If you observe, we know the whole thing is 6. If you find this, you can take 6 minus this to get this. Makes sense, right? So let's do this. How would you find this side? That will be cos of the angle will be, that will be this side, which is, let's call this base, we don't know, call this b, over 6, so b will be the value of 3. If this is 3, this whole thing is 6, this will be also 3, so now we have 3 as this value. Now we have to find this value, let's call this y. How would you find this value? So again, same concept. We know the whole thing is 10, we can find this one, take 10 minus this one to get this one. So again, cos of the angle, that will be what? That will be this side, we call this base again, why not? Over 10, so this will be cos of this. 10 times cos of theta, theta is 0.5464. That should be 8.544. Which means y will be 10 minus answer, that should be 1.4559. So finally, to find this length, it will be this plus this, so 3 plus 1.4559. That should be 4.4559. Add everything together, that should be 1. So this will be 2 pi plus 5.464 plus 4.4559. That should be 16.2. So this everything will be 16.2 centimeters for the perimeter of that region. That will be part 2 of your question. Now let's move on to question number 7. A curve is such that dy by dx is equal to this. Now we can rewrite this as 5 minus 8 power times x power minus 2. The line 3y plus x is 17 is the normal to the curve at the point P. On the curve, great to know. Now given that the x value of P, of the point P, is positive, so P is the point x and y that we don't know yet. Now we have to find the coordinates of P. So how would you find that? So something we understand here is that we have the equation of the normal. So let's first find the gradient of the normal. Pretty easy. Make y become subject, so y will be what? That will be minus x plus 17 divided by 3. That will be minus 1 over 3 x plus 17 over 3. You can see here we have the gradient. So the gradient of the normal have to be minus 1 over 3. But we know that the gradient of the normal and the gradient of the tangent, they are related. So we can understand that the gradient of the tangent will have to be the value of 3. Now we understand something is that dy by dx is simply the gradient of the tangent, right? So at this point, we know that dy by dx is 5 minus 8 over x squared have to be the value of 3 at the point P, obviously, at the point P. Now we have to solve for the value of x. So first we can multiply by x everywhere. Okay, we can send this here and this over here. You will have 2. That will be 8 over x squared. Divide by 2, you have 1 equal to 4 over x squared. Cross multiply, you will have x squared is 4. So from here, x will have to be plus minus 2. So hence x will be the value of 2 because it is told that the x value of P is 2, is positive. Now from here we can find the value of the positive value of y. Replace back in your equation. You have 3 times y plus x is 17. 3y will be 15, so y will be the value of 5. So finally P will be 2, that will be 5. Now what's next? We have to find the equation of the curve. So pretty easy. To find the equation of the curve, it is simply finding the value of y. We understand that y is equal to integration of dy by dx. That will be 5 minus 8 x power minus 2 dx. That will be 5x. Here we have minus 8. First we increase the power by 1, that should be minus 1, divided by the same power plus c. That will be y. So y is right now 5x plus 8 over x plus c. Now c is a constant we need to find, but we know the passing point p, which is 2, 5. We can use that to find the value of c. This is the x value, this is the y value. Replace, you will have 5 here. 5 times 2 is 10. 8 divided by 2 is 4 plus c. C will be 5 minus 14. That should be minus 9. So finally, y have to be 5x plus 8 over x minus 9. That will be your value of equation of the curve. Let's move on to the next question. The equation of a curve is y. Okay, so first thing first, I can rewrite this equation. That will be 8x minus x squared. Square root is power of half. So this is my y. Now let's see what else. So part 1, we have to find an expression for dy by dx. So pretty easy. Dy by dx will be what? So first multiply by the power. Then we have to minus 1 to the power, that should be minus half. Then multiply by d by dx of the value inside, that should be 8 minus 2x. So simplify. We will have divided by 2, that will be 4 minus x. And this will go down as 8x minus x squared power half. Okay, now what's next? So we have to find this, and then we have to find the points, the coordinates of the stationary point. So now we understand at stationary point, the value of dy by dx have to be 0. So here we have 4 minus x over the value of 8x minus x squared power half have to be 0. Now we can cross multiply, obviously, and you will have 4 minus x, that will be 0. X will be the value of 4. Now let's find the corresponding value of y. Replace back in your equation. That should be root of 8 times 4 minus 16. That should be what? 8 times 4 minus 16. Root of this, that should be 4. Okay, here you go. So this is the point. 4 will be your stationary point. Now part 2 of your question. The volume obtained when the region is bounded by the curve, okay, the x-axis, and is rotated through 360 about the x-axis. So again, we have to find the volume when the region is now rotated about the x-axis. So pretty easy. So we have to find where does my curve cut the x-axis. So let's do that. We know that at x-axis, the value of y have to be 0. So replace, you will have 0 here. Here you will have root 8 minus x, that will be this. So first thing first, square both sides, that will be 0, that should be 8. This, we factorize x outside, you will have 8 minus this, that will be 0. X will be 0 and x will be 8. So these will be your limits. For example, your graph will have a shape something like this. From this one, and let's say we have a point like this. So we will have, this is 0, this is 8. As you can see, the curve cuts the x-axis as those 2 points, so the region inside will be this one. So we have to find the volume of this region when it is rotated about the x-axis. Now rotation about the x-axis is given to you by the formula v is equal to pi, that will be y squared respect to dx. So pretty easy. Volume will be integration limits of 8, 0. Y squared is y we know. Square this, it will cancel out the square root. That should be 8x minus x squared dx. And that should be pi. That will be 8x squared divided by 2 minus x power 3 over 3. Let's see what do we have. So this will give you 4 over here. Pi is pi, and that will be 4x squared. X squared is now, for the first time, will be 8. That will be 64 minus 8 power 3 over 3. And then minus 0, that will be 0. 4 times 64 minus 8 power 3 over 3. That will be 85 1 over 3 pi. That should be units. That will be your volume of that shape. That will be part 2 of your question. Now let's move on to the next question. The diagram shows a quad of A, B, C, D, in which the point A is given to you by minus 1, 1, the point B is 3, 6, the point C is 9, 4. Now the diagonals of AC and BC intersects at the point M. The angle BMA is 90, okay, and BM is equal to MD. So first thing first, we have to find the point M and the point D. So pretty easy. Let's first find the point M. So the point M is a point of intersection of the line AC and the line BD. So let's find those two equations. So first we have to find the gradient of AC. That will be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That should be 5 over 10, and the value should be 1 over 2. That will be the gradient of AC. Now we have the gradient, we have a passing point which is minus 1, 1, minus 1, x and y. So y minus minus 1 over x minus minus 1 should be the value of half. Then we can just cross multiply. You will have 2y plus 2, that should be x plus 1. So 2y is equal to x minus 1. That is your equation of the line AC. Now to find the equation of the line BD, we have to first find the gradient. So gradient of BD. Now since the line AC and BD, they are perpendicular, we can derive the gradient from the gradient of AC. This have to be equal to minus 2. Now we have a passing point which is this one, 3, 6. That will be y minus 6 over x minus 3 have to be minus 2 over 1. Cross multiply, you will have y minus 6 have to be minus 2x plus 6. Y will be minus 2x plus 12. That will be equation of AC, equation of BD. Now to find the point M, obviously it's the point of intersection, so we can simply find that. That will be what? For example, that will be replacing in here, you have 2 times y is equal to x minus 1 minus 4x plus 24 has to be x minus 1. Send out every x to one side, you will have 25 equal to 5x. So x will be the value of 5. Now y will be minus 2 times 5 plus 12. That should be minus 10 plus 12, that should be 2. Now the point is 5, 2. This is the point of M. Now how would you find the point of D? So by observation, we know that M is a midpoint of BD. So how would you usually find midpoint? You will take the x value of M, of B, plus the x value of D, divided by 2. That is supposed to give you the x value of M. That will be 5. Which means x will be the value of 7. Same thing here. 6 plus the y value divided by 2 supposed to give you 2. So y will be 4 minus 6. That should be minus 2. So the point D will be 7 minus 2. Of course, that is one way of doing the question. You can also use vector move to find the point D. Now last one is to find the ratio of AM and MC. Find this ratio AM and MC. So we can definitely find the length to find that. Why not? So what is the length of, for example, AM? That will be root of, we know the points A is equal to minus 1 over minus 1. So first we can find the length. So minus 1 minus this, that will be minus 6 squared, 36, plus 9, that should be 45. What is the ratio of MC? We know the point M, we know the point C. C is the point 94. Root of this minus this will be 4 squared, 16, plus 4. That should be 20. So the ratio of AC, so AM against MC, this is root of 45, root of 20. So we can try to divide them and see what happened. That will be 1.5. So this is 1.5 to 1. Now of course we have to express them as integer values, so we have to multiply by 2. That will be 3 and that will be 2. Ratio will be 3 to 2 for AM against MC. Now let's move on to the next question. So an AP contains 25 terms and the sum and the first term is minus 15. So A will be minus 15, and we have 25 terms. The sum of all the terms is this. So the sum of the 25 terms is equal to 525. Now, because we know it is an AP, we know the formulas to use. For example, I know the n term have to be, first is a plus n minus 1 times d. The sum of the first n term is what it is, half times n times 2a plus n minus 1 times d. Okay, so next step, we have to find the common difference, so the value of d. So we have to replace back in your equation here. So 25, s of 25 is 525 is equal to half times 25 times 2 times a should be minus 30, n minus 1 is 24 times d. So let's solve for the value of d, right? So first we can divide by 25 on both sides. This will cancel out. So 525 divided by 25 should be 21. That will be 21. Then we can cross multiply. That will be times 2. That will be 42. So 42 will be minus 30 plus 24. From this, d will be what? So 42 plus 30 divided by 24, that should be the value of 3. So here we go. The common difference will be the value of 3. Now we have to find the last term of this progression. So we know we have 25 terms. So obviously, the last term will be the 25th term. That should be a minus 15 plus n minus 1 is 24 times 3. So minus 15 plus 24 times 3. That should be 57. So the last term will be 57. Now, we have to find the sum of all the positive term of the progression. So let's think. According to the question, we have what? We have the first term is minus 15. Second term will be what? Because common difference is 3, so when you add 3, that will become minus 12. That should be minus 9. That should be minus 6. Minus 3, 0, and then we have 3, 6, that should be 9, and then keep going on, right? It should be a 12. So as you can see, when you add all the terms together, so until 25, right, your sum is 525. However, you can see here, the first 5 terms are negative. So this first 5 is negative. So what is the sum of these negative terms? So minus 15, minus 12, minus 9, minus 6, minus 3. That should be minus 45. So we understand minus 45 plus 0 plus sum of the positive terms is going to give you 525. So sum of the positive terms will be 525 plus 45. Should be 570. Let's check. That is 570. So the sum of the positive term is 570. Okay, now let's move on to part B of your question. A college agrees a sponsorship deal in which grants will be received each year for sports equipment. Now this grant will be $4,000 in the year 2012. So here we have the first term. 2012, it will be $4,000. Now, it will increase by 5% every year. So which means second term, the year will be 2013. If it increases by 5%, what is the new price? The new price will be, or the new grant will be 5% times 4,000 plus the initial amount. So 5% is 5 divided by 100 times 4,000 plus the initial amount. It will be this amount. But how did we really find this? As we have explained before, I think many times, is this. Let me write this over here. So if you increase by 5%, right? Now we understand that the initial term is 100%. When you increase by 5%, it becomes 105% of the initial term. Now what is a 105%? It is simply 105 divided by 100. That will be 1.05. So the idea behind this is, how do you get this term? You will take 105%, which is 105, times the initial amount to get the term for this one. So this will be 4,200. Now again, the same idea to get the third term of the year 2014. Again, multiply by the same ratio, 1.05. That should be 1.05 square times 4,000. So here you can see by observation, the first term have to be 4,000. The R, which is the common ratio, is 1.05. And here we have to find what? Find the value in 2022. So we can try one by one or by observation. When the year is 1, the value is 2012. When the value is 2022. So 2012, we have to, the value is 2 here, minus 1 is 1. The value 2 here, minus 1 should be 1, but here we have the 11th term, right? That should be the 11th term. Or we can just count. 2012, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, until 2022, that should be 11th term. So the value, the term 11th term should be A is 4,000 times R 1.05 power n should be n minus 1. That should be this. That will be my n term for a GP. 4,000 times 1.05 power 10. That should be 6515.5785. Your answer will be 6520. Correct to 3SF, right? That is part 1 of your question. Now for part 2, we have to find the total amount the college will receive in the years 2012 to 2022. So for the 11 years. So sum of the first 11 years should be A is 4,000. 1.05, which is R power n is 11 years, minus 1 over 1.05 minus 1. So 1.05 power 11 minus 1 should be this, divided by 0.05 times 4,000. That should be 56,827.148. So 3SF should be 56800. Let's check again. 1.05 power 11 minus 1 times 4,000 divided by 0.05. So let's try again. 1.05 power 11 minus 1 times 4,000 divided by 1.05 minus 1. That should be this value, 56,827. Okay, that will be this. Correct to 3SF. Okay, that will be part 2 of your question. That will be a GP question.